Okay, so this is the second go around of that last one that I showed you. So I'm going to start with my darks. This is going to be the underpainting here. I know I had my two little peaks here. And just picking out another color to go in here. I'm getting my dark values first, and then we'll get some of our darker, boy, I think I had some reds in here that might have been a little bit darker. Let's see, I think I have a darker, yeah, here it is. There we go, that's more like it. Right in here, I think I had some up here. Then I had some brighter, a little bit brighter oranges. Come in here with this one. Oops, that's going to happen sometimes. They break. All right, and then a little bit brighter right in here. And again, this is just I'm going to go over this with some alcohol. So I don't want to put a whole lot in here just yet because it's going to get smeared and smudged with the alcohol. And I think I have enough on there. I'll go ahead and do that next. So I'm going to cut here and then I will come back with the alcohol wash. Okay, so I've got my little medium-sized brush. I believe it's a watercolor brush. I don't know the brand or the size or anything. It's just one of the brushes I have in my toolbox. So I'm going to come in here and dip in the alcohol, and we're just going to start going over that. You're going to see some pastel dust kind of flick off and go off into the atmosphere, into the air a little bit. I've got my fan going, and this paper is dark to start with, so it's going to, these colors aren't going to stay bright. They're gonna tone way down, but that's okay. I like that, and I can still use that underpainting as a roadmap for where I want to put my basic shapes and color in when I get to that. And I'm going very, very lightly with the brush. You can see the brush strokes even, so just very lightly. And again, this is going to just get really dark because the paper is dark. I've started with that dark blue. This is Canson Velvet paper. I love this paper. It doesn't use up quite as much as of your pastel stick. And it's got just enough tooth in it to hold several layers of pastel. So I really like that. And I don't really care about seeing the brush strokes. I don't know if you can see that in this video, but you can see those little strokes in there, which is fine. I like that. I like that little added texture, which it's going to get painted over for the most part anyway. Get this last little part in the corner here. And even if you don't get it all, it's okay. It's just to see, cover up that blue, which would have been fine. I don't really have to have an underpainting on this one because the paper is already colored, but I just wanted that little extra layer underneath. Okay, so I will let that dry and I'll be back. All right, so it's dried up now, and I'm going to come back in, go over just a little bit, put some dark reds in here first. I'm going to have a little bit right in here. go with some of these darker violets. Keeping a fairly light touch so far, because I don't want the tooth to fill up completely. Not yet. Kind of looking over at my little viewfinder abstract picture that I took. So I'm just kind of going with that. I want to go a little darker. I'm going to put some sort of a phthalo blue in here. Kind of lighten that up a little bit. A little bit more violet. I don't want this one to get too terribly tall. I'm going to bring that back down a little bit. I don't want them to be the same height, these two peaks here. There we go. That's better. Okay, so I've got a little blender tool. So I'm going to blend some of this down, some of the dark areas, before I go over them again. Just to kind of get that pushed into the tooth, and for now get rid of some of the pastel marks. Just kind of get that there, get it smoothed out just a little bit. All right, we'll come in with a darker violet here. Same over here. And then a little bit redder, a little bit lighter. So I'm thinking buildings, I'm thinking trees. I'm not really trying to make any certain thing in particular, really. I'm just sort of going with the values, the shapes, and just to kind of see where it goes, really. I like to see where it goes. What's going to happen? What's going to happen next? I'm just wiping my fingers off right now. And I'm going to lay in some of this, get some of this bright orange in here so that I don't accidentally go over that. There we go. Another streak right in here. And a little bit down here. I'm also going to lay in some of this this yellow-green. I want a couple of bright areas of yellow-green. I'm trying to stick with a split complementary color scheme, and so what I'm after is a violet for the main, and then it splits off into yellow-green and yellow-orange actually. So I want to get a little bit of that in there as well. Get a little darker green down here. Still in the yellow-green family, but just a little bit darker back here behind this shape, and maybe right in here as well, and a little bit off, way off into the corner, a little bit, just to, so it's not gonna get the colors going everywhere. Okay, so in that last one that I did, I think I overworked it. I went back in and I just put too many marks, and it's sometimes hard to know when to stop. So I'm going back in this one again. I'm gonna add. I like high contrast, so I'm going back in and adding some darks, and then I'll move on to another. So I'm really pushing hard. I'm really pushing this color into the paper. There we go. All right, that's better. That's better. And that happens once in a while. I'm getting a little too aggressive there, Jeannie. Okay. All right, so we've got a little bit more contrast. Then I'm going to come back in with a little bit lighter violet. And let me pick out a violet here. Ooh. Just for some highlight. I don't want to go too crazy with it. All right, I still like it so far. Okay, I'm coming in right here and putting just a little touch of this blue, just to give it a little bit more variety, change it up just a tiny bit. I'm not going to add too much, just to kind of make it pop more, a little brighten it up just a little bit more. Trying out this dark mauve here. Just a little bit. I don't want to, that may not be quite the right shade. All right, going back with some there we go. That's more like it. There we go. Good. I like that. Lightly raking it across just to give hints of a little sparkle down in that little section. Okay, I've added a little bit more red here and here. I'm going to see if I can get a little bit lighter with the yellow orange right here. I don't want to go too deeply into the orange. Side of things. There we go. I like that better. And then I think I want to put a little bit lighter value of this purple right across the top, just to add that little bit of highlight. Right, just in a few little spots. I almost want to call it done. Let me take a look. Okay, I found another purple in the toolbox. And I want to try to make a little bit of a shadowed area right underneath here. That really is a bright. I like that. Got a little bit of red in it. There we go. I like that. That's better. I think it's just about done. Okay, just adding a couple more of the little yellow orange highlights. There we go. Okay. A little bit more green, and I think I'm going to add a little bit more of this darker, a little bit darker green in some of these outer areas. There we go. The last one I did, I kept going and kept going and kept going, and there's too many marks, and then the tooth of the paper fills up and you can't add any more. The only thing I can do is go back and either brush it off, wash it off, start again. But I thought this time I'm going to leave that one alone and start another one and compare the two and stop. I think I'm going to stop with this one, because otherwise I will keep going like I normally do, and then it's overworked. There's just too much. So I'll step back, take one last look at it, turn it sideways, turn it upside down, and take a look, and then determine whether or not it's done. Okay, so I came back in and I added a little bit more of the light violet, and a couple of little spots of this glowy red here. My favorite red, 410 with Mount Vision, and a few more little strokes of this violet here, right in here, and right here, here. And I think I'm going to leave it alone. If I go any farther, it's going to end up like the other one. It's overworked. You can't put any more pastel in it because it just smears right off. You don't really, it just doesn't hold on. So I'll call this one done and move on with the next one.